Beneath the city, within a maze of underground passages, Princess Alexia Midgar awakens, chained inside a dim cell. All four of her limbs are restrained by magic sealing chains, preventing any use of her abilities. As she processes her situation and briefly wonders about C's fate, her attention shifts to the adjacent cell where a grotesque humanoid creature lurks. Though shocked at first, she quickly composes herself and calmly concludes that she has been abducted. Moments later, a deranged man in a lab coat arrives, brimming with excitement at the prospect of obtaining royal blood. Alexia greets him with surprising composure and questions his intentions. The man eagerly explains that her blood carries demonic properties and will be used to resurrect a demon. Despite the horrifying revelation, Alexia remains outwardly indifferent, choosing instead to wait patiently for rescue. Meanwhile, Cid Cagano is detained by the Night Order under suspicion of kidnapping Alexia. Subjected to relentless interrogation and brutal beatings, he is pressured to reveal her whereabouts. Rather than resist seriously, Cid finds himself amused by the situation, viewing it as a classic scenario for a background character. Determined to play his role convincingly, he feigns panic and desperation. When threatened with torture using large needles, he cries and begs for mercy, all while internally bored and curious about how long the act will last. At the academy, Xenon Griffey meets with Princess Iris Midgar to provide an update on the investigation. Expressing guilt over Alexia's disappearance, Xenon is reassured by Iris, who urges him to focus on the search rather than blame himself. When the topic of Cid arises as a suspect, Xenon acknowledges the circumstantial evidence, but questions whether someone of Cid's perceived ability could overpower Alexia. After reviewing reports that Cid endured 5 days of torture without confessing and consistently maintained his innocence, Iris orders his release, though she insists he remain under surveillance. Though Xenon agrees with the precaution, he expresses a desire to trust Cid. Iris, too, is reluctant to suspect her sister's acquaintance. However, with no leads and limited manpower, she remains deeply concerned. Reflecting on her strained relationship with Alexia, Iris recalls how they once understood each other through swordsmanship, a bond that has since faded. Outside, Claire Caganu attempts to defend her brother's innocence to the knights, but is restrained by other students to avoid escalating the situation. Rose Oriana intervenes to stop Claire's reckless behavior, even attempting to detain her. After his release, Cid, still wearing only his undergarments, is unceremoniously thrown out of the Night Order headquarters along with his confiscated belongings. Later, now dressed, he boards a train back to his dormitory. Though visibly exhausted, he refrains from instantly healing his wounds, believing such an action would not suit a background character. He soon notices 2 individuals trailing him, undercover knights assigned to monitor him. As he disembarks, the 2 knights follow closely behind. While walking, Cid passes a hooded figure who quietly whispers, "Later." Catching a glimpse of long blonde hair, Cid continues on without reacting. Upon returning to his dormitory, Cid is surprised to find Alpha waiting inside, disguised in a female academy uniform. After thanking her for a sandwich, he inquires about her visit, noting that it was supposed to be Beta's turn. Alpha explains that she returned after hearing of his predicament. She then reports that Shadow Garden has grown significantly, gaining influence and uncovering valuable information about the cult of Diablos. Though not yet equal in power to the cult, their organization continues to expand steadily. Cid listens, amused by how seriously the others have embraced their roles, yet he appreciates their continued dedication to what he still considers a game. As he finishes eating and tosses the wrapper aside, Alpha reminds him to be mindful of his current situation, warning that he could easily be made a scapegoat. Cid, however, casually accepts this possibility, believing his low status makes him the perfect candidate. Alpha reveals that the Night Order has likely been infiltrated by the cult and confirms that Alexia has indeed been abducted for her royal blood, which contains a high concentration of the hero's lineage. She reassures him that Alexia is still alive, as her captors require her blood continuously. Though puzzled by Cid's supposed relationship with Alexia, Alpha accepts his vague dismissal of any romantic involvement. She expresses her belief that he carries a heavy burden and hopes he will trust Shadow Garden more. Cid agrees, promising to rely on them. Switching into her slime bodysuit, Alpha requests repayment in the form of a tuna sandwich once the matter is resolved. She instructs Cid to remain in the dormitory until further notice. Before leaving, she offers to eliminate the knights who interrogated him, but Cid declines, stating they were merely doing their jobs and deserve a reward instead. Alpha accepts his decision and informs him that Delta is currently in the capital, having missed him. Meanwhile, Sid prepares for what he deems the perfect Eminence in Shadow moment. He transforms his dorm room into an extravagant setting, replacing its contents with luxurious decorations, fine wine, valuable paintings, and antique furnishings, collected through his various exploits. As night falls, Beta arrives and is astonished by the opulence of the room. Sid declares that the time has come, describing the night as one belonging to the shadows. Beta enthusiastically agrees, noting that the moonless sky is ideal for their operation. She reports that under Alpha's command, Shadow Garden has assembled 114 operatives within the capital. Though surprised by the number, Sid briefly considers the need for additional extras before dismissing the thought. Beta outlines the plan, a coordinated assault on multiple cult hideouts across the city, targeting Fenrir's faction while simultaneously searching for Alexia's magical signature. Each member of Shadow Garden has been assigned specific roles. However, before she can continue, Sid interrupts and hands her a letter, an apology from the knights who interrogated him. Declaring that he will personally take Delta's place to initiate the operation, Sid steps toward the open window, cloak billowing as he proclaims that the world will soon know them. In a dark alley, two corrupt knights await a report from their surveillance team, unaware that the team has already been eliminated. When Sid appears, they attempt to frame him by presenting Alexia's boot as false evidence. Confident in their authority, they prepare to arrest or kill him. Unfazed, Sid calmly reveals the bodies of the knights who had been tailing him. The corrupt knights are left stunned as Sid swiftly cuts them down. As one wounded knight warns him of the consequences of defying the order, Sid transforms into shadow and delivers his final words, "Everything will end by sunrise," before finishing him off. Elsewhere, Beta gleefully records these events in her Chronicles of Master Shadow. Suddenly, a thunderous explosion echoes across the city, the signal that the operation has begun. Sid recognizes it as Delta's doing. Across the capital, Shadow Garden launches its assault. Delta annihilates an entire hideout, splitting the structure in half with overwhelming force, while Alpha oversees the operation's progress. Simultaneously, reports flood in to Iris Midgar, detailing multiple coordinated attacks occurring throughout the city, marking the beginning of a large-scale conflict. Iris receives urgent reports from her men about multiple ambushes occurring simultaneously across the city. The situation quickly escalates as it is confirmed that at least 8 locations have been targeted, with several buildings destroyed in coordinated demolition attacks. Realizing the severity of the crisis, Iris orders the security forces to prioritize protecting the academy while she personally leads her men to confront the chaos unfolding in the city. Meanwhile, deep within an underground lair, Alexia hears loud disturbances echoing from above. Sensing something unusual, she urges the other captives to wake up, remarking that things are about to get interesting. Suddenly, the deranged doctor bursts into her cell, carrying his equipment and frantically declaring that they are coming to slaughter everyone. Assuming rescue has arrived, Alexia attempts to calm him, explaining that the Night Order would not kill without reason. However, the man, driven by madness, ignores her words and instead rants about killing them himself. Terrified, he grabs a large syringe device. His bloodshot eyes turn toward the grotesque creature nearby, claiming that his invention should even work on a failed result. The doctor injects the creature while chanting the name Diablos, hoping to prove the power of his creation. Almost instantly, the creature's body swells, becoming larger and more powerful. The doctor watches in ecstatic fascination, completely ignoring Alexia's warnings. However, the moment the creature breaks free, it immediately kills him. To Alexia's surprise, the monster then turns to her and slices through her chains, freeing her from captivity. As it climbs upward to wreak havoc on the city above, Alexia briefly considers herself fortunate. However, her escape route is quickly blocked by fallen rubble, trapping her underground once again. Searching for another way out, Alexia eventually encounters Xenon at a sewer junction. It is there that he reveals his true nature. Calmly, he admits that the hidden facility belongs to him and that he was the one who funded the doctor's experiments. Furious, Alexia snarls at him, recalling the week she spent as a test subject. Despite her anger, she admits she is not entirely surprised. She had always suspected there was something deeply wrong with him. Unbothered by her accusations, Xenon explains that none of it matters as long as he obtains her blood. With it, combined with the doctor's research, he believes he will secure a position as the 12th seat among the rounds, finally escaping his insignificant role as a mere swordsmanship instructor. As Alexia mocks the rounds as a gathering of lunatics, Xenon corrects her, stating that the Knights of Rounds are the 12 highest-ranking members of the cult. Individuals with wealth and influence far beyond anything he currently possesses. He even goes so far as to insult Alexia, remarking that Iris would have been a more suitable prize, though he is willing to settle for her. Enraged by his words, Alexia attacks. However, Xenon effortlessly deflects her strikes, mockingly apologizing for the resentment she feels toward being compared to her sister. He belittles her, claiming she will never surpass the level of a mere fencer ordinaire. Refusing to accept his judgment, Alexia channels her magic into her blade, mimicking Iris's swordsmanship technique. Her sudden burst of power catches Xenon off guard, managing to land a small wound. Though surprised, Xenon quickly regains control of the fight, demonstrating the overwhelming skill of a future Knight of the Rounds. He disarms Alexia with ease and strikes her down, sending her crashing into the sewer water below. Standing over her, convinced of his superiority, Xenon declares that she will never become like Iris and orders her to come with him. At that moment, a figure quietly approaches. Sid steps forward into the dim light, positioning himself between them.